If I should wake this tomorrow, no, there is nothing left to hold. Lying here beneath this dark, there is nothing left to love, and it takes its toll. And it takes its toll.
Welcome, welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me, so I'm not spinning my wheels over here on this lovely Friday night. It is what? New Year's Eve? And I am so excited for a new year and a new start, y'all. Thank you, Val. She says, love the intro. I'm so glad you're here. And thank you for checking up on me on the holidays. I was actually going to message you about 10 minutes after you messaged me. I was like, it's time to check up on Val. So glad to see you, hon. Good. Glad you're here. Let me check and see who else has shown up. Brooke, of course, my lovely mod. Thank you for being here. Wilted lettuce, I need to get back with you. Sorry, it's been busy, with the infant and all and the other 2 boys. But I will email you back. I promise. Alrighty. I know it's a kind of a late live. I've been doing later lives because of the little one. So I've had to adjust my schedule, but hopefully once I get everything else caught up in my life, I will go back to mornings or afternoons. We shall see. All right, so there's a lot of cases that have kind of popped up that are just bananas. And then there are some that are also, they have been around for a few years. And I'm speaking on Michael Vaughan, Summer Wells, the Karen Reed case, which I don't talk about on here often, but because I'm concerned about a lot of things when it comes to corruption and what law enforcement can get away with during an active FBI investigation on a prosecutor's office. That doesn't happen very often. And when it does, it should be covered, because those are people that they're attacking people that they didn't do a proper investigation on, brought charges on. And it could happen to anybody. It could happen to you, your son, your daughter, your friend, anybody. And for the obvious signs of corruption in this magnitude, it has to be covered. It needs to be said. Because if you don't, they're going to get away with it. And we have people, law enforcement, whether retired or, basically consultants for media, backing this with the Karen Reed case and the corruption within it, and actually going after people who believe Karen Reed is innocent. And we'll get into the nitty gritty of that. It's very shocking. Turtle Boy, I don't know if anybody knows who that is. It's Aiden Kearney. He has been covering the Karen Reed case extensively. He is the one who kind of brought everything to light about the Karen Reed case, because they were charging Karen Reed with murder of her then boyfriend, who is now deceased. He was found on the front lawn of a fellow Boston PD police officer. And that is very strange that the Norfolk County in Massachusetts, Canton, Massachusetts, or Norfolk County, excuse me, um, without any real proper evidence and a very, very disgustingly inappropriate investigation, um, for them to assume that she murdered her boyfriend with her Lexus and left the scene for him to die when there was no witnesses, etc., is just beyond me. Anyway, Turtle Boy has been a very outspoken activist, basically for Karen Reed's innocence and to get the proper justice for John O'Keefe. However, his methods are kind of like a mixture of everybody on YouTube that you could think of that is very, um, what's the word? You're conflicted with their methods. How about, let's say, the good things that Bullhorn Betty does, but also with that mouth, right? Um, but people listen, right? Especially like in the Summer Wells case with Bullhorn Betty, which, by the way, she called me an idiot a few weeks ago, which I thought was amazing because that means I'm doing something right. And it was regarding the Michael Vaughan case. So go me. I got called an idiot. I was called an idiot by Bullhorn Betty. That is a win in my opinion. um, but anyway, we're not going to really talk about too much on Turtle Boy or Aiden, except for the fact that, you know, a special prosecutor named Ken Mello has done some shady shit, in my opinion, to get him the 16, I think it was, felony indictments on him. And then I want your opinion on if you think he was set up by a girlfriend or ex-girlfriend that he was seeing, because we'll get to it. We'll get to it. I want your opinion on it. All right. But first, I want to talk about a very heartbreaking case. I don't know if anybody has been following it. I'm sure you guys have at least heard of Savanah Soto and her boyfriend, Matthew Guerra. They were brutally murdered, shot behind the ear, both of them tied up, and was found in her vehicle at an apartment complex. They were looking for suspects that they caught on video. She, by the way, Savanah Soto was pregnant. She was 18 years old. Um, it's heartbreaking, this case. It's really just pulled at my heart because she was just starting out and she was literally about to go get induced when she was murdered. They were murdered. So she was actually overdue. They were going to induce her, I think, what was it, the 23rd or maybe Christmas Eve, something like that. Um, and, you know, we don't know if, right, Val was asking if the baby could be saved. I'm assuming not. I'm assuming that when she passed, the baby also passed. And sometimes they do, you know, when someone passes away with a uh, child inside of them, it's called a coffin birth, where the deceased person will give birth to the to the baby, and it's really, really devastating. And for her to be deceased for a few days, anyway, it's very, very heartbreaking. And I hope that they catch whoever it is that did this. I think there's multiple, in my opinion, from the footage. Um, Now there's a lot of drama. Oh my gosh, a lot of drama with the families and people around Savannah and Matthew. There's been fights, there's been footage, and I'm sure if you have watched Mel's coverage, he's already done it. So that would be a great place to go see all of the nitty gritty of it because he's really good at covering that. Um, they've identified persons of interest, right? I did see that pop up like 10 minutes ago on uh, my news feed. It says Texas police release surveillance. There's the surveillance. Let's just take a look at it real quick because there's been a lot of, before we get into the suspects ID, let's look at this footage again. And I want you guys to tell me if you see 2 or 3 people in this footage. So there is Savannah's car pulling up, and then there's a man that's about to get out in the truck. Very big, heavy belly. So hard to see. Let's see if I can. So they open the door. That looks like a rag. Looks like he grabs it, opens the door. Somebody gets out of the vehicle. Almost like they're putting, I don't know, like they're putting a towel down for them to sit on. Look at that. Big gut. Or there's something. No, I think he's hiding something in there. I really do think that he's hiding something in that stomach of his. Because it looks just ridiculously big. Let me pause it. Look at that. What is that? What is he hiding underneath his shirt? His wife beater, right? What in the hell is that? That's big. It is so odd to me. This is a big fella. But even then, I mean, what is this? And I've been just looking over it and over it and over it. Megan Cole is attacking your channel on her stream. Cool, 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 cool. I hope that they have fun. Thank you, rapper. I don't even know why. Why? What did I do? I don't even know who that is. Megan Cole. I have no idea who that is. I'm sure it's the Michael Vaughan case. So anyway, what do you guys think? What the fuck is that? Just been boggling my mind. So there's one person, looks like a dude. Looks like that guy that's in that video of the Ring doorbell camera footage that spoke to Annalisa. Annalisa is a neighbor, and apparently she was going to fight Savanah, but didn't know she was pregnant, so they didn't fight. It was just, anyway, ridiculous. Yeah, Val, I don't even know who that is. So they must not be all that. So let me see if they have a person ID'd. I told Jeep Girl, who I speak to often, that I believed it was a hit from the jump. A lot of people were like, how do you know? How could you just say that? You know, he used to beat her and da 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 da, and there's evidence of that. But I don't think that it would, in my opinion, for someone to have that background, it would be very, very stupid to do, you know, how they were found. I highly doubt that that would be the way somebody like him would do that to his girlfriend, pregnant girlfriend. It'd be very stupid. She was about to be induced, go to the hospital. So I think it would be, it just didn't make sense to me. And here we are. Latest updates on the investigation into the murders of Savanah Soto and Matthew Guerra. Sorry, I cannot say it. I have like a little cold that I think I'm coming down with. A lot of people are saying that they're getting COVID. So I hope that's not what this is. Let's see.
Locked On daily podcasts for every NBA team.
They didn't buy a championship. No. They didn't sneak in. No. They dominated it. When your faith is rewarded the way that all of our faith, people watching this, is rewarded in this one, there's nothing like it.
The Celtics are like pandas. They're only going to eat bamboo.
We're learning new details about the capital murder case of a pregnant woman and her boyfriend. This as San Antonio police continue their search for 2 persons of interest seen in this surveillance video. Police Chief William McManus says This video was taken in the days leading up to the discovery of Savanah Soto and Matthew Guerra's bodies. KENS 5 reporter Megan Reyna has been following this story for us from the start. She joins us live now with what she's uncovered. Megan.
Well, unfortunately, we're not getting much information from police today. We've reached out several times. They say they have no new details on this investigation. But earlier, I reached out to Matthew Guerra's father, spoke with him. He says just yesterday, a detective on this case told him that they did not find a gun or phones inside the vehicle where Matthew and Savanah Soto were discovered. But if you recall, yesterday, the police chief, William McManus, said during the press conference he didn't rule out murder-suicide. But late last night, the medical examiner did confirm that Matthew's death was a homicide. We want to again show you that surveillance video that was released by police yesterday. Now, it shows a driver in a truck approaching the same Kia Optima where police found Savanah Soto and Matthew Guerra shot to death. Now, this video is near the same spot where they were discovered at an apartment complex in the Med Center. You can also see a second person of interest get out of the Kia, followed by the driver of the truck who had something in his hand.
I deserve to go that way. Get what they get, because my granddaughter did not deserve to go that way. She was too precious. Life was too precious for her.
And right behind me, we're at the park where the memorial is set up for Savanah Soto, and there's actually still family out here right now as they just process this tragedy. And we know, speaking to Matthew's father earlier, that they are starting to plan his funeral. They started planning it today, and they're hoping to plan a vigil as well. If you would like to help both of these families, we have GoFundMe's on our website, kens5.com.
All right, so it's really amazing how the twists and turns in this Savanah Soto case and Matthew Guerres. I butchered that too, but it's closer than I was. It is insane, this Facebook group for this poor couple who was murdered. It keeps getting paused and then opened back up. It's wild. Lots of fighting. So this guy right here, the one that was in the ring footage camera or ring camera footage that was released, like, I think that the guy is him because of that weird ass haircut. I have to agree. Like, you can kind of tell when the light hits and reflects off that face. Yeah. I think that that's him. What do you think? I know it's hard to kind of tell, but if you've been watching this like I have, that's just how I feel. All right. So there is a theory out there that Annalisa, who is the girlfriend of this guy in the ring footage, and go back up. Right there, this guy, they think that his girlfriend Annalisa, the guy in the footage is her dad. Yeah, but we don't know if that guy's him. But it is being shared. But look, I mean, and he does have a truck similar to the one that's in the footage. Now, I'm not saying that it's him, but I had already done this research before it was released out like this, and that's who I was suspecting from the jump. Okay, that's who I personally think. There is a Rogelio Sanchez that has been released on a charge for murder and kidnapping. There was also a Trevor Morse, who I believe people were saying that was Annalisa's boyfriend's name, but there was a lot of bickering back and forth. This guy right here is actually Trevor Morse, and he has been charged with aggravated kidnapping and robbery. Apparently, that has nothing to do with Savanah Soto's case. So it was very it spread like wildfire, like, oh my God, this must be it. And I didn't think so because they were murdered. You're going to have to get a murder charge. Obviously, they knew pretty quickly that a gunshot to the back behind the ear is not what I would call a murder suicide, especially if they are tied up, from what I heard from one of the family members explaining this. So I, yeah, it's wild. This Facebook group is really, really thorough, just like any other one that has like a groundbreaking case like this. But at the end of the day, I think that people know exactly who it is. I believe that this is, in my opinion, retaliation, specifically with the boyfriend who has been in a lot of trouble throughout his little criminal career for as young as he is, 26 years old. So I think that people, the hard part about that, the tough part about that is in the drug and gang business, you don't snitch and snitches get stitches. And apparently that may be why, this happened unfortunately, to Matthew and Savannah, because somebody snitched on somebody else. And you know how it goes out there. And especially in San Antonio, it's heavily gang related crimes. San Antonio is no joke. So that's really all they're waiting for, is somebody to confirm who's in that CCTV footage, and somebody needs to snitch. And I hope that they are protected, because this is no joking matter. Obviously, they had no problem murdering an innocent girl and her baby. So I hope that they get, protected. And I hope that people take it seriously and ask for that, whether it be witness protection, but they still need to do their due diligence, right? So I'm praying for them. I'm praying for the family, for Savannah and Matthew. My heart breaks for them. I couldn't imagine the pain. I don't think that I could be able to breathe, right? There's just I just can't get it. Now, going on to the Karen Reed case, a lot of people were like, what the hell is she doing posts and stuff about the Karen Reed case? Because I don't cover it on my lives very often. But as I've said before, I don't post it on my YouTube, because I'm actually on Twitter with this, which is where I actually was covering the Michael Vaughan case, or at least sleuthing it, if you will, from what people had said and done and all that. I was playing catch up, if you will. And oh yeah, there's JLR. I was at Savanah Soto's vigil. This was December 28th, yesterday. I was at Savanah Soto's vigil. Some dude showed up, and then that was the guy, right? And the gut, you know how I said the gut hanging off? Yeah. I'm just going to say, draw your own conclusions. Very similar. All right. So back to what I was saying with the Karen Reed case. And Michael Vaughan. I was on Twitter. I brought it to YouTube, where it became the shit show that Twitter made it, and everything like that. So there's just sometimes where people just are interested in a case in different social media platforms like TikTok, whatever. And that's just where Karen Reed happened to be, until, Turtle Boy went live with it on YouTube and people, started listening. But this is kind of like where it all kind of stems from. And basically, let me just reiterate, Karen Reed is being charged with murdering her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, who was found deceased in the snow on the lawn of a Boston police officer. John O'Keefe was a Boston police officer. And the the investigation of Massachusetts State Police, where he was found in Canton, Massachusetts, there's a lot of horrific cover-up, evidence of a cover-up, in my opinion, to protect whatever happened to John O'Keefe, because there is law enforcement officers involved. And there's so much evidence, in my opinion, of this corruption, that for the FBI to be investigating the investigation of John O'Keefe and Karen Reed's charges, there is just no other way, in my opinion, like, why would they do that? There's no other reason other than there's proof of something going wrong. Long story short, there are people that are surrounding the Alberts. Jim McCabe, who was the one that actually called John O'Keefe over and told him, how the directions to get to the house and all that stuff. Jen McCabe, Googled at 2:47 a.m. how house long to die in the cold, and then deleted it. So there you go. This is an in-law to Brian Albert. So draw your own conclusions on that. But what I want to get into is, let's jump all the way from February or January 29th, 2022, when this happened, to now. Turtle Boy, who is Aiden Kearney, has been charged and indicted with witness intimidation and conspiracy because he is very crude in his methods on covering the case. A special prosecutor is the one that charged him because of the FBI investigation in the prosecutor's office for Karen Reed's case. It's so muddled that they wanted to bring a special prosecutor in, which is just a lawyer that is allowed to do the same things as a prosecutor in the county. And I want you to hear the audio of what happened when 9 peaceful protesters in Canton, Massachusetts, who are pro Karen Reed supporters, let's just take a listen to what happened as they were peacefully protesting outside of Chris Albert, who is the brother of Brian Albert, the home that John O'Keefe was found on the lawn. Let's just see. I want you to tell me what you feel about what you're going to hear. Remind you, it is your right to peacefully protest. That is your right.
DA's office. Can I speak to your shift commander?
Well, I'm on duty right now. We have a lieutenant too. But how can I help you?
Okay. There's a protest going on outside B&E. Would you mind sending a car down there just to make sure that they're
We'll take a look.
not intimidating this?
And what's your name again?
My name is Attorney Ken Mello.
So again, Ken Mello is the special prosecuting attorney who has been going after Aiden Kearney left and right because of crybaby Chris Albert and Jen McCabe and all of them not liking the fact that Turtle Boy is exposing them for the pieces of shit that they are, in my opinion. I don't think that it's fair to intimidate people such as Chris Albert, who is on the Canton board, who does not pay his taxes, who does not do the proper due diligence for his town. And this is really bad. I mean, he is just a con, in my opinion. But yeah, that's him. And he's talking to Canton PD about them protesting.
And who you working for?
I'm the special prosecutor
Okay.
regarding Aiden Kearney.
Got. All right. So the prosecutor, you said there's people outside B&E.
Right.
Okay.
Just have a cruise go by and make sure there's nothing.
We'll check it out.
Now, I have never heard of a prosecutor nor a special prosecuting attorney to go and call in to the cops and say, can you investigate something that I'm planning on charging these people with? Because he does. Okay. Why? Why are you instigating this, knowing about it already beforehand? Because he watches Aiden Kearney like a hawk because he's obsessed. Right? Why would you do that?
Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Roger. Hey, Mike. I got a call from Kenneth Mello. He's the special prosecutor, I guess. 686 has that. Let me know. Anyways, there's some protesters out in front of D&E, so Zeph is going to take a drive-by.
Yeah, they can protest.
I know, we're just going to take a drive-by. Just get the attorney's question. We just be sure we stop by, take a look.
Yeah.
So you hear the cop. He's like, well, they can protest. It's their right. And he's like, yeah, no, I know. Let's just accommodate Ken Mello because he's wanting to make sure nothing happens. Okay, cool. Well.
So, all right. I'll catch you. Bye-bye.
Slops.
Hi, Mr. Mello. It's Sergeant Silvesi. I just spoke to you. Oh, 1 second.
Yes, sir.
1 second, sir. Roger. An officer swing by. I said there's 4 people like across the street holding signs. They weren't right in front. They were across the street. They're not impeding traffic, but so it seems kind of mellow. It's a small group now.
All right. Okay. Very good. If they could just here swing by there once in a while, I'd appreciate
We'll keep on making passes. You know.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
problem,
it.
sir. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. Now, if it were to stop there, guys, I'd be like, all right, he just wants to keep an eye on things, make sure, Chris Albert's feelings aren't going to get hurt because people are protesting. And mind you, this is outside of D&E where he works, co-owns. I don't know. That's still unclear to me. But allegedly he owns D&E Pizza, this Chris Albert fella. And they're protesting across the street. But apparently because he's a witness now in the Karen Reed case, nobody's allowed to protest. Like your constitutional rights do not trump Chris Albert because he's some special asshole. But I digress. If this was just where it stopped, I'd be cool with it. But here we go.
Canton Police Officer Nick's recorded line.
Hi, Officer Nix. This is Attorney Ken Mel. I believe I just spoke with your sergeant there. Is he still available?
He's not. He just stepped out. Actually, he's
So he calls back after they said, we'll just keep an eye on things and we'll let you know if anything happens. Well, he calls back.
walking back in the room, sir. Hold on.
Okay,
let me put you on hold and I'll have him pick up, okay?
Thanks very much.
You're welcome, sir.
How can I help you?
Hi, Sergeant Ken Mello again.
No problem.
Do me a favor. Take a look at Chapter 268, Section 13A.
268.
13A.
Okay, so that's picketing. And then the other one that he talks about is intimidating a witness. So he's already looking up charges before anything is actually done or any laws are broken or whatever. The cops have not given out a ticket yet, nothing. He just calls back and says, look up this statute. Again, picketing and intimidation of witness.
Okay. I'll go ahead and get a book. Oh, 1 second, sir.
Okay. You give me a call back if you want, okay?
Okay, yes, sir, Mr. Mello. All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hey, Mr. Mello, it's Sergeant Silvesi.
Hey,
So,
Juniper.
it looked up. So what do you want? What are you thinking of doing?
Okay. So the guy calls back and it's like, what do you want? What do you want to do? What do you want us to do? Because obviously he has an agenda. Even the sergeant is like, what can I do you for? And he's like, well,
I think we're good enough to charge him, to be honest with you. At least
it reminds me of, what is that show? The Sopranos. What he just says right there. Kind of like that, that accent, right? But listen.
I think we're good enough to charge him, to be honest with you, at least this person.
So you're telling me that you have enough, you have some kind of evidence without knowing to charge these people, which these charges do get dropped, by the way, in court. So it makes him look like the fool that he is, Mr. Mello right here. But how in the world is it okay for you to call the police department and consult with them on charges that you have no information to base it off of, but you're telling them that you think they have enough to charge them with, or he has the right to do so. When the cops haven't given him any information, he's poking them and prodding them to basically do it for him. And they do.
I mean, that's my take on it.
Yeah.
You know, but it looks like they meet every single requirement of that statute.
Okay. So we just go we go up there. You want us to write a report and try to document who's there.
Yeah, if you could do that, yeah, please, if you can do that. I mean, I mean, check with your lieutenant. I don't want to, I'm not an officer in your department.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you're telling them, you're playing both sides here. You're like, I think that we have enough to charge them. We have enough to charge them, to be honest. But you know what? You make that call. I'm going to put the ball in your court now, even though I'm the one that instigated and called you to check into this. So now you're culpable in my bullshit. This is what I would call unethical prosecutorial behavior. And this is also, in my opinion, something that the ethics committee and the ethics, you could be debarred potentially for doing this kind of shady shit, especially what he has been doing recently. But you know what? What really irks me is not the fact that he's got his eyesight and target on Aiden Kearney, the one that actually exposed all of these corrupt assholes in Canton, Massachusetts. That's not the problem. The problem is that they're trying to shut it. They're trying to protect someone who actually murdered John O'Keefe. This all stems from the fact that John O'Keefe was, in my opinion, murdered by someone at the Albert's home in Canton, Massachusetts, where he was found. And Karen Reed deserves better than to be charged with murder when she is obviously being framed, in my opinion. She deserves to grieve, and she can't because she's tied up in courts with these jerks. Like, this is the worst night. This is a nightmare that could happen to anybody, is what I'm trying to say. And it scares the ever loving shit out of me that if people let this happen to an innocent woman, it can happen anywhere. It could happen to you. It could happen to anybody. This is not okay. This is not something that you should just ignore. This is important because your life could change overnight just because you wanted to go out and have some drinks with your significant other and they're dead on the lawn the next morning. Okay? Especially when there's, alcohol involved, when you can't really remember everything that happened. And then you say something that sounds incriminating when it really isn't. And that's why we're here with Karen Reed at the end of the day. So everyone really needs to focus on this case.
But I'm looking at that statute and saying they're across the street. They're certainly near Albert's place.
All right.
He's a witness, and they're certainly there for purposes of influencing or whatever else the statute states.
Yeah.
They're not there for any other reason.
How does Ken Mello know their reasonings before the officers can even ask them these questions? Even if it were, you got to prove it, right? You got to prove it. Now, yes, they're outside of D&E, which is where Chris Albert works. But this asshole was intimidating people long before these peaceful protesters showed up to fight for Karen Reed. Their signs said Karen Reed, free Karen Reed. All right. Journalism is not a crime, but they are trying to make it that way. And they're also trying to suppress your your constitutional right of freedom of speech. Excuse me. That is absolutely abhorrent, not okay, terrifying, first of all. And they're doing everything they can to prosecute Turtle Boy because of it. Do everything they can before it all goes down in flames. Remember, the FBI is investigating the prosecutor's office.
All right. So it's punishable by no more than a year in prison and a fine of no more than $5,000. So,
Correct.
all right. So we go up there. We can try to figure out. I mean, I think we could probably figure out a couple of them. Maybe not all of them who they are, because we can ask them and they can just tell us, pound sand, not tell them, and we try to find them, see where cars they go to or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I guess
Val,
we
she
go
does.
from there and just and
Sure. I mean, I don't know if you can reach your chief to see how she feels about it, or.
All right. So the Chief Rafferty, she is the first one to scream and shout and let it all out that what Turtle Boy is doing is wrong, and the defamation and the blah, blah, blah. This is Chief of Police. And Ken Mello is asking Canton PD officers to do dirty work for him and see if Rafferty's going to back him on this. That is absolutely ridiculous. He has her number, or he could get it very quickly. He's a prosecutor, a special prosecutor. There is no reason for him not to call her himself. But because he's doing it through the Canton PD, everybody's got their hands in the cookie jar here.
I mean, okay. Great. I appreciate it very much, Sergeant.
No problem, sir.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, at the end of the day, Ken Mello is going after the one person who brought it all to light that Karen Reed is more than likely innocent in the crime against John O'Keefe that was placed on her, and help covering for who the true murderers are, whoever they may be. Now, the consensus in the community is that Chris Albert's son, his son Colin Albert, who had scabs on his knuckles weeks after John O'Keefe's death, threatened to pull up, bang, bang, anybody that had any opinion on Karen Reed and what happened that night. They tried to say that he wasn't in the home, but he was. Okay? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. I think it disconnected for a second. Sorry. But what I was saying is that Colin Albert, who is very, very young, he is the what people think is the one who actually maybe beat up John O'Keefe, basically. And I'm not going to go into all the nitty gritty, but please keep up with the case if you can. It's very important. This is going to be a huge documentary one day about corruption. I mean, these are Boston PD. This is Massachusetts State Police involved. Canton PD. This is big. This is a problem. You have a special prosecutor coming in and doing the dirty work because Morrissey, who runs the prosecutor's office in Norfolk County, he can't do it. If he did it, it would look really bad under that FBI investigation, wouldn't it? So then he goes and gets Ken Mello, who is just a douche canoosh if I've ever seen one, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. To go and do all this dirty work. And I don't think Ken Mello realizes that he is now part of this whole big old fat conspiracy. In my opinion only. Everything is alleged on this channel. So, good luck, Ken. Not only that, by the way, I forgot to mention this. There, in my opinion, there was a setup against Turtle Boy again, where his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend or whatever you want to call her, Lindsay, basically took advantage of a situation that a man couldn't ignore necessarily. The whole I'm pregnant and I'm not going to take this abortion pill basically without you being by my side. He goes over there. He's recording the entire thing. Not one thing ever uh, proves that she was assaulted, but here we are where he's back in jail for assault and battery. And there was not a shred of evidence in the recording. It was just hearsay. That's it. But he is in jail for assault and battery and probation violation. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? But here you have Chris Albert, remember, the brother of the homeowner where John O'Keefe was found dead in his lawn. The trolls are hot tonight. They're always hot against anything that I say. But if you go on Twitter, my handle is here, Eve_EP_talk. Why hasn't Chris Albert been charged with witness intimidation for what he said to Tom Beatty? Tom Beatty is the father of a daughter who was called by Colin Albert, the youngin, to get a ride, allegedly. And when she called back, he says, never mind. But Jen McCabe, the one that Googled how long to die in the cold at 2:47 in the morning and then deleted that search, called Mr. Beatty too, multiple times. He didn't answer. He was probably asleep. So I'm wondering if that call was to say, hey, zip it. Because that's what Chris Albert did. Because at one point, Chris Albert goes to Tom and says he wants to sue Aiden Kearney, Turtle Boy. And that Tom could get caught up in that if he didn't retract his truthful statement about the phone call from Colin. If Tom did retract it, then Chris believed that it would make a stronger lawsuit against Turtle Boy. And Tom said, get fucking bent. And kudos to Tom. He's a good guy. That's a good guy. So what does Chris Albert do? Threatens with cease and desists. If you do not comply with you shutting the hell up, I will have no choice but to file a lawsuit against you. Chris Albert is on the Canton board. The city of Canton. Who doesn't pay his taxes, who lied on a document saying that he didn't have any outstanding federal taxes to be in the position that he's in. Val, is Tom single? No, he's happily married. But Tom is an outstanding guy, he really is. I've been kind of listening to other people talk about him over the course of this case, and he's a good dude, and he doesn't deserve to be threatened. This letter is your one and only chance to resolve this matter. Oh my God. So does this make any sense to y'all? All right. They're bullying the shit out of people to shut up. And if you don't, then they come after you. Matter of fact, ever since I've been covering the Karen Reed case and have been supporting Turtle Boy, because I do, I support his cause, even though I don't always support how he does it. I am a supporter. And I have been called. I have been threatened. I have a running list. Crusty. You dumb bitch. Ignore that. Yeah, it's just insane. Nobody deserves to be threatened and harassed in any way, or even silenced. There's no need for that. If you're innocent, then why are you guys so hell-bent on shutting everybody down? Yeah, listen, Brooke, Krusty is not there's two Krusties that I'm going to be mentioning from now on. And I guess I better be more clear on which Krusty I'm mentioning, because there's a Krusty in the Karen Reed case. Her actual nickname is Krusty Panties. And I'm not even going to go into the whole thing about that. And then there's just Krusty. How about that? For the Michael Vaughan case. Oh. So there you go. All right. Now on to the last two topics actually three. Really quick. Gypsy Rose Blanchard is free. She was the abused daughter. Her mother had abused her, and she was a victim of Stockholm syndrome, where her mother made her sick. You know, you guys know who Gypsy is. She is out and free as of today. And I'm very happy that she's out and free. I understand that she needed to serve time for her crime because, you know, she did conspire with her boyfriend at the time to murder Dee Dee Blanchard, Gypsy's mother. But, you know, sometimes, in my opinion, I do believe that the insanity plea would have really helped because it's insane what she went through. How about that? But I digress. That is here nor there. She is free. She was released from prison. And I hope that, you know, she has a better life ahead. I hope that she gets all of the help that she needs. She looks like she's doing well. I'm really happy for her. And victims of Stockholm syndrome, it is no joke. You don't know, you know, could you imagine thinking that you're sick and that you were born the way that you were your whole life until one day somebody who actually cares and actually looks at the documents. It was a woman, a doctor, who said that she wasn't allergic to sugar because that was one of the Stockholm syndrome things with Dee Dee. And she said, I bet you a whole soda that you're not allergic to sugar. And she sets it down. And she's like, I can't drink that. No, I think you can. I promise you, you'll be safe. You're in a medical facility. Go ahead and take it. We'll take care of you if you are in fact allergic. And she drank the soda. She was fine. And that was the catalyst, ironically, a can of Coke. Wild, isn't it? But anyway, much love to her. I hope that everything works out for her going forward and that people can learn from that whole entire situation to make sure that if they see something like that in the future, they can grab a hold of it quicker. Because children are obviously number one victims of this. And it's not okay. All right. Moving on to Summer Wells. Oh, Summer Wells. The latest clip that I could find of Summer Wells was a 30-second reminder to the local community in Hawkins County to go ahead and send in any tips that they think they might have after 2.5 years, which is ridiculous. That would have happened already, don't you think? I highly doubt that 30-second clip would do a damn bit of good for anybody. But I guess I appreciate that they did that. I think it was WJHL. I don't even think it was WJHL. I don't. Let me look. I'm the latest. Mwahaha. I'm just kidding. Oh, the Vault did an excellent job covering Summer Wells and the parents and what she feels. My God, you need to go check her out. Blew my mind. Nothing. Except for voices, and that don't count. So sad. But I did make a video the other day about how Candace Bly tends to blame the men in her life for why she does the things she does, especially drugs. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I can play this real fast. I think it's very important to think about this when you hear the bullshit from Dawn and Candace. Okay? I did a video called Who's Cracking First? Dawn or Candace? And I want to know who, if you could choose, which one would you choose? Dawn or Candace? And you can say neither too. Hey everyone, it's your girl True Crime with Eve, and I was with her brother before being adopted and put into foster care. she was told. I'm not going to play the actual video. I just needed the screenshots that I put in the video. All right. So Candace Bly's daughter, Candace Floden, was adopted out at 6 months, put back into foster care because Candace Bly and Andrew, the father, was on meth. And Candace Floden, the daughter, was just trying to explain her side of things, but she was told because she was a little bitty. She wouldn't have known. So what does Candace Bly say in response to this? This was a while back, by the way, like August of 2021, like right at the beginning. Well, I was with somebody that thought loved me and wanted a family, but I guess not. And I don't have any excuses, but let me go ahead and give you the excuses. I was 19. He was 42. He was into drugs. I didn't know what they were. He made me do them. And then I didn't want to do them, but he kept telling me to do them. If I didn't, he was going to take my kids away. Does that sound familiar to you? If I didn't do something right or his way, he berated on me. I tried to leave, but couldn't do it. Yeah, he kept getting me back in there. I could never get out. Then the courts got involved. I was given a choice to either let you guys go to a family or they were going to take you. I signed over my rights so that y'all can have a better life. All right. And I'm kind of glad she did that because the abuse was already done with the older brother. Was beaten so bad, allegedly, that he is now disabled or needs help with his life. All right. And then we have Jody C. Brown. I'm not going to play it so I don't get like double whammies on this. But Jody C. Brown explains on AB's live that she basically was gloating. Candace Bly was gloating to her about doing meth the night before. And then she, did a double take and was like, but Don made me do it. Of course he did. It seems to be a reoccurring theme with you that people make you do things you don't want to do. And I call bullshit. I think that is the thought process of Candace Bly, Candace Wells, whatever you want to call her. That is her MO. Whatever accountability I can put on somebody else to make me look like the victim is how she gets away with the shit she does. Poor me. Woe is me. I don't have a brain of my own. I am always forced to do X, Y, and Z. And I guarantee you that that's going to be her defense, allegedly, if she is charged with what happened to Summer. It's always somebody else's fault. It's always somebody else's reasoning for why she is culpable in whatever it is. And that's going to be her defense, in my opinion. And that is, I also think she got that from Grandis. I think Grandis has always been that way as well. What did she say in the interview? Well, if they wanted to call me, meaning Hawkins County detectives, my phone number hasn't changed. They can give me a call anytime. Okay. But as a grandmother who lost her own daughter, and Rose Bly, you would think you'd be a little more diligent in this one and not so hands off with your granddaughter's case. I have a feeling she knows damn well what's going on and all of the key factors in the timeline. I think she knows it all. This is all a script to me. I really do. And it just makes it that much more obvious that they're all keeping secrets for each other until someone slips. Someone's going to slip. I don't think it's going to be Grandis. But it's either going to be from people behind Don Wells and who knows him and who knows what's going on, or Candace's side. I personally believe it's going to be Don. I think Don's going to lose it like he always does. I mean, look, he's the one that gets arrested, doesn't he? He's the one that gets a DUI. He's the one that has to go to court a lot. You don't see Candace doing that. You don't even see Candace showing up for court for her boys. But she's not going to have to worry about that anymore because she won't get them. Okay. But maybe Don will come out of nowhere and have the upper hand on something. I mean, they're both going down one way or the other. But I'm really interested to see who does what. Because you have to think, these are criminals and druggies, and they are very conniving. You'd be surprised. You would be very surprised. I'm going to check in with chat. What are we talking about? I've been rattling on. I'm not used to going live at night. I don't like it, to be honest with you guys. But I do like my regulars being here with me. Thank you. What's the why you lurk? I don't want either of them. I want both of them in jail. Well, hallelujah. Maybe Jody Sue Brown can help speeding that up. Maybe Andy. Maybe Marlena could help with that. I don't know. Brooke says Candace is going to crack first. Maybe. Put her in jail for 3 days. I bet you she would. I guarantee you. But she always gets Dawn in jail. So she's at least smart enough to stay out of jail. That first pic of Candace looks like Summer's updated pic. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? That first pic was Candace floating. Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. I see what you mean, though. Juniper says, I feel like there's a generational abuse. Absolutely. I scream that all the time. On both sides of the family. Sadly, addiction, abuse, and neglect is a constant theme for sure. It's very sad. Yeah, and the coverage I did on Warren Herrera, Grandis's brother, that's where you can see the entirety of what was going on in that house and how they were raised. This is generational trauma going through and harming innocent children like Summer and her brothers. Because they just kept getting away with the shit that they were pulling, whatever it may be. As small as not being clean and being entitled, maybe drug abuse, to, relying on men who are druggy criminals to take the fall for them, basically. That is not okay. Right? I do honestly believe something's coming in the Summer Wells case. I know I've said that before, but I think it's bigger than that. I think the evidence is stacking. I really do. And this is more procedural now. The waiting game, if you will. And I feel like that's what's going on in the Michael Vaughan case. I feel like there's something with the grand jury that's going on in the background, and nobody wants to update us, meaning law enforcement, because it's getting there. It's almost here. And they're not going to say shit. They have one chance to convict, and they're not going to jeopardize it on a whim. They're going to basically feel like they know it's going to stick. I binge watched Jody Sue Brown trying to figure out her riddles, and I actually try to be nice to her even, but I think I have permanent brain damage now from watching her channel. No shit. I have no problem anymore calling her for what she is. A joker. The Riddler. And thick as thieves. Her and Andy. And that's just that's just what I feel. Michael Vaughan case. I am going to be doing a separate live all about Michael tomorrow. So I'm going to keep this very simple and short and sweet. Take what you hear about the speculation on Sarah Wandra over on Crime Lines and Lies with a grain of salt. The conspiracy theories that are being thrown out there are ridiculous. We now have the same old creeping back up. Where is Michael Vaughan in the glasses, the reflection of Sarah Wandra's glasses? No. In one of her TikToks? No. It is clearly herself. It is clearly her phone reflecting in her glasses back onto the phone. You dumbasses. Please stop. Please stop. That is not going to do a damn bit of good to help Michael at all. It's very ironic that I'm the one who gets slapped around for exposing the recordings, if you will, or assisting in that. And I'm the bad guy. But those things are A-okay. A-okay. When her charge for failure to report a death has been dropped, Stacy Wandra is out and about walking the streets. And Brandon and Adrian are just living their lives. Living their lives. Working, rapping, being dumbasses. I mean, don't look bothered to me. But you know who looks bothered? I don't think I have to say it. So I just want everybody to be careful and don't spin off this crazy conspiracy that Michael was sitting there right next to Sarah while she was TikToking about her convictions with God. It's just a little goofy. Looking real goofy. And by the way, Brooke, sweetheart, not you, Maud, talking about crime lines and whatever. They don't live in a 2-story house. She keeps saying that Tyler was upstairs changing the... Honey, they live in a single-story home. Brandy had to correct you in a live. Like, this is not good. Let's get the basics down. I keep telling people the basics aren't even down, y'all. The basics. I got a whole playlist with 145 videos if you need that assistance. Ma'am, please help me help you so that we can help Michael. That's all. That's all the update that I have on that. Unfortunately, I wish we had more. However, this next live, get ready. You know how I've been telling you that we need to go back to the beginning? Well, before I do that, and we will be going back to the beginning, because now we have, current and recent that we need to go over to mishmash with the beginning to see if there's something that we can connect the dots with. It might help. Who knows? But before we do that, we need to go over 1102 Red Wing and the people that were in and out of that damn trap house, or whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it. I don't think it was really a trap house. I think it was a house that they mistakenly thought they were doing the good thing, at least Sarah, to help their brethren when they were being taken advantage of. I know people like that have a really good heart, but they get their doormats because they're not all there. Very naive. So we're going to do that. And are y'all listening? I'm going to give you a little spoiler alert. It has something to do with a driver of a pizza chain. Whoa. The pizza. Dum, dum, dum. There, and it's not the one that we're thinking of, y'all. It's not the one that delivered the pizza, to my knowledge anyway, at 6 or 7:15 to Monkey's home. It's a different one, and it involves Sarah 2 days before Michael went missing. And it's drama, y'all. It is drama and kind of wild. So stay tuned because we're going. Oh, and guess what? Guess what? His name starts with a J. Remember how we've been looking for the J name that maybe was around 1102 Red Wing Street? The one that Brandon couldn't remember? So get ready. That damn J name. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. Much love to you. You know, as I say, drink your water, hug your babies, your grandbabies, your fur babies. Give yourself a hug. Happy New Year if I don't see you before then. And I will see you on my next live. Much love.
I never knew I was missing out on these emotions until I found you. I never knew that there was more to it, but now I do. I never got it, if I'm honest, it's all brand new. When you're around, everything feels easier. When you're around, everything feels easier. Thought I hit the ground